In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a lower ball joint on a Subaru Forester. It's located behind the front wheel. After you've raised and supported the vehicle safely, you need to remove your 5 lug nuts. These are 19mm nuts. And remove your wheel. Once you remove your wheel, your sway bar link is held on by 2 17mm nuts. Once you start to spin this nut, the shaft is going to want to spin. At the very end here, there's a 4mm Allen. You can insert your wrench first, insert your Allen. If that Allen does strip out, you can take a pair of pliers and hold the back side here and remove your nut. Remove your pliers and do the same to the other side. Now your back nut. Once you remove your 2 nuts, you need to remove your sway bar link from the sway bar and lower control arm. You can just take a pry bar and pull it out. There's your link. You have a 32mm nut for your axle. You need to remove that. Make sure your axle moves in. You can tap it with a hammer. Once you get your axle to move, you're on to your next step. Now we're back underneath the vehicle. Here's your ball joint. This is your nut. You need to remove this nut that connects it to the control arm. That nut is a 17mm, but it also has a cotter pin that you need to remove. After you remove your castle nut, you can hit your lower control arm here with a rubber mallet to loosen up the control arm to the ball joint. Now you can take a tool like this, slide it over here, take a pry bar, pull down your lower control arm. Swing your ball joint out of the hole. Just a note, the reason why we took that axle nut off is because once you start swinging your knuckle out, you don't want your axle to pull out of this boot. So you want to remove that axle completely out of your knuckle. You want to take off this 14mm pinch bolt for your lower ball joint. Sometimes these get stuck. You might have to put a little bit of heat here and work the bolt out. I removed the axle completely out of the knuckle and tied that out of the way. I also took a piece of wood, as you can see, just to get the knuckle out, just so you have plenty of room to work. Your knuckle is split right here. You want to take a punch and tap it in there and spread that open, because this ball joint needs to be pressed straight out. Once you install your punch, you should be able to pry down on your ball joint and it should come out. Ours is extra rusty, so I'm going to use an air hammer. Once you get your ball joint out, remove that, and you want to clean all inside here. Once that area is clean, just throw a little bit of anti-seize in there before you put your ball joint in. Once you put your anti-seize in, now it's time to install your ball joint. And you can tap that until it seats. Install your new bolt and your lock washer. And tighten your bolt. Once you tighten your nut, you want to torque that down at 37 foot-pounds. Now you can remove your nut from your lower ball joint. Remove your piece of wood. Remove your strap that's holding your axle. Install your axle back into your knuckle. Get our axle back into our knuckle. We use our tool. Pry down on your lower control arm and install your ball joint. Now install your castle nut. Tighten it up. And that nut's torqued at 30 foot-pounds. You want to make sure your castle nut opening is matched up with the opening in the hole of your lower ball joint for your pin. If it is not, you can tighten your nut a little bit until it lines up. Just like that. Install your cotter pin and bend it down. Now let's reinstall the sway bar link. Install your two nuts and tighten them down. And those two nuts get torqued down at 33 foot-pounds. Now it's time to install your axle nut and tighten it down. Now you want to torque that nut down to 162 foot-pounds. If you have a helper, at this time they can push their foot on the brake pedal so your rotor doesn't move. We don't have someone, so you can use a pry bar and torque it yourself. On your axle, you're going to have this cutout. What you want to do is you want to peen your nut into that cutout. Just like that. To install your wheel, slide your wheel over your lug nut studs and install your lug nuts. You want to tighten those in a star pattern. And torque those down to 65 foot-pounds. Once you've lowered your car down to a flat surface, now it's time to torque. You also want to torque in a star pattern.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.